Okay, so hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rita Borenstein, and here I record videos about my work as Life Between Life hypnotherapist here in Sweden. And I sometimes have guests. Some of my videos are in Swedish and some are in English. And today my guest is you, Gerrit Gielen. And you're in the Netherlands. And I heard about you at first when my Life Between Life colleague Dorothea Fakar in Germany told me about the work you do with your partner Pamela Kribbe. And it was like a treasure to me, finding a treasure when I found your website, yeshua.net. And I listened to the audios you had there, and I still do. And then I started also to subscribe on your newsletter. And every month you release with a topic. You release first your meditation, Gerrit, and then also it's not first your meditation, sorry, you have like a pre-talk, then a meditation, and then the channeling by Pamela, which is, I believe, such a nice combination of male, female, and your voice and her voice. So it inspires me a lot. And then when I read about your work as a hypnotherapist, I realized, oh my God, there's a colleague. And I was wondering if I could have a chat with you on YouTube about something. And I came up with the topic, The Lost Boys. So to start, Gerrit, it's quite a topic. I don't know where I get all these topics from a dream sometimes, and sometimes from it just comes. But I would like to start to ask you, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit for the listeners about yourself, please?
Well, my name is Gerrit, and I work as a spiritual therapist. This means I believe there's something very beautiful inside each man. And we have often lost contact with the beauty inside us. And I simply try, when I work with people, to reconnect people with their own beauty, with their own wisdoms. So I do not give answers. I try to reconnect people with their own answers, with their own insight, because I believe when we are born here, we forget ourselves, we forget our true selves, we forget that we are the source, that there's an infinite and timeless light inside us. And I try to give people the space to reconnect. So it's very simple what I do. Basically, I'm telling people the wisdom is inside you, there's beauty inside you. And then when they discover this, they can then go down to the problems and see their problems, their fears, the tensions in a new way, in a new light. What I try to do is first step, so let people be aware that they are a source of infinite love and wisdom, and then let them go down to the problems, to the fears, because those fears, those problems we have talked about, the lost boys, they are the lost children inside us. We have a tendency to suppress our problems. We do not want them. For instance, when we get ill, we like to go to a physician and we want a pill to get better. But what does this mean? That we want to go to the past when we have a problem. We want to go back. But instead, we have to go forward. And every problem is a means to grow, because behind every problem, there's basically a lost part of us that wants to reconnect, that needs our love and understanding, and it helps us to grow. And the biggest problem in life that people always want, they do have a problem, want to go back, to restore the past, and they want help with that. And then they think everything is okay. But that is not the way. We have to go through, and then after it, we discover a new light. a new wisdom, we discover that we can grow. Because people do not believe that they can grow. They think we are fixed and this is the situation. But we can grow. There is deep inside us, we are infinite. Whatever we think of us, that we have limits, there's always something beyond those limits. We are always bigger than we think because we are infinite. And this is the journey of life. It's an inner journey, a journey of self-discovery that never ends. There's always growth until we are the one. But we shouldn't forget that even if we are the one, this, what we are, is still a part of us. It belongs, if everything is one, then everything belongs to this oneness. Also our ego, also our fears, also we as human beings. So we will never lose ourselves. We will only grow. And I try to help people with that grow. Okay, is it a bit...
That's wonderful. I get so mesmerized by you because it's how wonderful, and because it resonates a lot with me, how I also well, when I see clients, it sounds very similar in that way, but to connect to the source, so to speak, or to connect to one's soul, that's really lovely. Yeah. Thank you. That's a nice foundation to our talk, and to carry on now to this saying the lost boys, as you also said, the lost children, but the lost boys in the story of Peter Pan, as you as listeners I might have heard of. Peter Pan is a wonderful character, and all these characters in this story. But I remember so much when I first I think I saw it as a film, or if I read it, that the land of the lost boys was so it made my fantasy work so much, because could it be that there is a place where all the lost children are, and there they kind of, one could say it could be a nice place, but it also could be a trap. And then psychologically it's said, as far as I know, when I read that the phrase the lost boys, we could talk about the lost girls another time, but it's a male part of us, so to speak, even though I'm a woman, that never grew up. I mean, as you said, go to the past, it's my terrible history, it's my terrible childhood, it's to problematize, how do you say, I can't even say the word, but to make it a problem always. And this I saw when I used to work as a therapist, that everybody wants to focus on the problem, and it's like you fall into a well and you are there, and you, me and my problem, and instead of getting up and I'm out, and let's see how to go forward. So it's a common thing, of course, but yes. I'm curious now about your experience and your take on this lost boys.
I think lost boys are very, very important. Yeah. They are basically the key to what we call enlightenment. For instance, look at me. I have a right hand and a left hand, and they always work together. They never quarrel. And at the same level, our soul has a right side and a left side, a masculine side and feminine side. It is one. And yet when we look at this picture, I now see before me, I see myself and I see you, a woman and a man. And now imagine what happens when you were born on this earth. You were a soul, you were complete, you had this masculine side, the feminine side. And suddenly your parents called you a girl. They give you a name, Rita. However, when they did this, they did not only give you a name, they give a lot of ideas and energies came with it. So what happens inside you, your soul was one, and it was torn apart. Basically, you became a twin, a non-identical twin, a little boy and a little girl. And everybody around you talked only to the girl. You are a girl. You are Rita, and you have to behave like a girl. You have to become a girl. And what happened to this boy? It became lost. So people talk often about their inner child, and this is a very important concept. But you have two inner children. Right. Inside you is not only little Rita, there is still this lost boy. And you can make yourself a complete person when you make an inner contact with this lost boy and say, come to me. I am one. You belong to me. I have also a right hand. And together, when you let these two children play inside you, you will never be alone. The whole quest in life for women is that they're basically looking for this lost boy.
Yeah.
And they want to become one. And one of the big problems is that when they think of a boy, they often think of images of masculinity that are people given in this world. Man has to be powerful and strong. But man in this world has also to obey, because the world needs soldiers and hard workers. And this is why inside man, the boy is often also lost. A man like me, especially in the past, had to grow up, had to become an adult, had to become responsible. And what does this mean? This sounds for us as a process of growing. But basically, it's a process of loss of contact with the real self. So also inside man, there is this lost boy. People should be basically like trees. The trees, the center stays the same, so then you get layers around it.
Yes.
That's we suppress. So the past is gone. We are no longer a child anymore. And from a physical point, when you look at my body, you don't see a child. But from a spiritual point, this is a lie. This is not true. We should still be children. And what is around this is an interface to express the child into the world. So the lost boys, especially for women, it is very, very important. They should forget that they are women. They are souls, complete souls. And what is the missing part? Not something outside like a twin soul you're looking for, not a romantic loss, not a romantic love, but these inner lost boys. And therefore the story like Peter Pan, that is basically about lost childhood, and is so important.
Right. Yes. Yes. How beautifully you explain it. It totally not only makes sense, as they say, but it's beautiful also because it makes a possibility also to it's hopeful, I believe, actually, but it's up to me as a woman then, and you as a man, because nobody can do it for us, as a matter of fact. But I've been very fascinated by the gender, because as I do past life regressions myself, I felt myself as a masculine, I mean, like as a man in past life, so for real, that I felt surely how it felt, and
yes.
So then I can relate to what a lot of people come to see me for also, because a lot of women tell me these days that they gave up on men, so to speak, and to me it's a bit saddening somehow, if I should have some emotions about it, but it's like giving up. And but then I always think a little bit like you, but what about you? How is your inner boy, or how is your inner girl doing, actually? And hypnotherapy is great in that sense, that one can then access it quite vividly, if because otherwise it could be hard to get access of this, because it's so lost that you never felt it really, or something like that. So what do you think about, or what do you feel, or what do you know about this kind of character then? I had a few clients like that who 40 or 50 or 60 years old men who were still dressing and acting as, and kind of being like boys, one could say, whatever that would be, but they blame others. They think that women are crazy. They think that all the relationships didn't go well because nobody understood them and all that. And yeah, I don't know what do you think about these kind of, we shouldn't judge these kind of men, of course, but how could it, what could help them, you believe, in general, for these who have become so old and still haven't realized that maybe um, uh, the key is the key is already in them.
Yes, well, first of all, you cannot help them unless they want to be helped.
Yeah.
And they need to realize that, yes, they have an inner issue.
Mm.
When a man has a problem with women, he has a problem with his own feminine side.
Mm.
He suppresses his own feminine side. People who are in balance with masculine and feminine energy, yes, they don't have that problem. They understand each other. They understand their own inner female and their own inner children. And yes, so
Yeah.
at a certain point, people should stop blaming forces outside them and go inside.
Yes.
Because the problems in the outer world are just at a deep level reflections of inner problems.
Mm.
And yes, and the point is when you suppress something in yourself, it manifests itself in the outside world, but often in a negative way. You see it when women suppress their own masculine energy. They often attract aggressive men, and they start to say men are bad, but these aggressive men at the deep level forces them to say no, to stand up for themselves. So there is a deeper layer.
Yes.
But what you said about regression in past life, that you remember that you were a man, isn't that wonderful that this is inside you?
Mm.
This is all inside your mind. And basically you can, with your consciousness, go back to any being in the universe. Because at the deepest level, you are everything, you are one. You can know how it is to be a star. You can know how it is to be a horse, an animal. It's all inside you. And you can overcome this. However, to do this, you need to be good in touch with your feminine side, because the feminine side gives us the oneness. This is step one. And then you have to dive into something like a horse, a stone, or whatever. And then you need your masculine side.
Right.
So it's just like walking
it's a
in the
fun
hand
game,
and
actually.
using your body. You always use your right and left side. And at the same way, it should be your psyche should use your feminine and your masculine side. And you have them both, but we learn to suppress both sides. When you're a man, you suppress your feminine side, and when you're a woman, you suppress your masculine side. And this is the biggest problem of mankind. And therefore, things are standing still. But fortunately, nowadays, there is a lot of change. Look at yourself, what you're doing for wonderful work. You are expressing yourself. And yes, you use, when you're talking to me, you use your feminine side, but setting up this, making contact, making YouTube videos, there's a lot of masculine energy in.
Yes. Yes, I'm quite intrigued by the balance inside of me, because I was very interested in Jung, or Dr. Carl Jung, all my life.
Yes.
The animus and animus, that how it started when I was young, but because for me it was quite a revelation that, oh my God, I have feminine and masculine. I'm like you show with your hands. So what an opportunity! This time I'm a woman. This time, and they give birth and to children and become a mom and everything. But I saw in the men, the partners I lived with, the boy and also the girl, and the older I become now, the more I feel I become like the girl, the little girl. I'm not afraid anymore to be to play and to be, as I say, childish, and to just let it be as it is. But it helps me a lot with seeing clients, because then maybe as I saw in one of the channelings by Pamela, your partner, to carry the energy of the solution, as it said there. It's lovely to, because also when you speak all the time, I feel that this man, he carries the energy of solution, but you don't solve anything, but you carry an energy because of your experience, of course, but also the way you express it. And basically it's about awareness, I think, and maybe presence, and also the fears. So I'd like to ask you a little bit about fear, because it's a big topic, and usually drives a lot of phenomena in the world. I believe it's like there's love
Yes,
and there's fear, and in these times, like all times actually, with a lot of war in the world and many terrible things, people carry a lot of fear, and so do I, of course, and um, and this fear makes it so hard to, you get like a tunnel vision.
yes.
And what is your, would you like to speak a little bit about fear in general? I don't know, you probably come up with something from your point of
Uh,
view. It's a great obstacle for all of us, I believe, this kind of deep fear.
yes. Well, the first thing is what we have all a lot of fears inside ourselves. And the problem is that many people are not aware of those fears because these fears hide themselves in thoughts. Because we, for instance, we find it natural that our country has borders, that the country you live in has an army. We find this self-evident because we see those people behind the borders can be dangerous, etc., etc. So the first step is, of course, become aware of our fears. And a very important thing with fear is fear works always this way. Fear tells us always that there's a problem outside us. When someone is afraid for a spider, the spider is a problem, and all our consciousness is focused on the spider. We see nothing else but that spider. And this way, fear always tells us there's a problem outside us. So the first step in dealing with fear is first become aware of our fears, that we have fears. And secondly, that fear itself is a problem. So we should go to the fear. And what I always try to people to help them to become aware of their fears. And then say, okay, who is behind these fears? Where is this fears? And imagine someone who is afraid inside yourself. And this, as you know, is often past life pops up. Huh? They see someone who's burned at a stake or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's my
common.
fears. And then I
Yeah.
tell them, okay, this person behind the stakes, remember there's no time. At the deepest level, your consciousness transcends space and time. And this fear is a cry for help. You can go back in time and be there as a guiding angel.
Right.
And this is what those person stuck in time wants. When you are afraid, when you feel threatened, you cry for help. And this cry transcends space and time, and someone in your future might pick this up. Why? Because it's not about the space in time. It's not about the distance in space and time. It's about the psychological connection. You can have a psychological connection with a person living 3,000 years in your past. You can be very kindred to such a person. And when such
Yes.
a person reaches out, it touches you. Why? Because you have a similar psychological structure. And
Right.
you can help. You can go back in time and send love and warmth and kindness to it. And imagine you are threatened, you are burning at the stake, you feel people around you,
Yeah.
and suddenly you see a beautiful angel coming towards you, saying, hey, you've done your job,
Yeah.
let go, come
Yes.
with me,
Yeah.
be one. And this means for you that you are start to integrate a past life, and that you can become one with that person again. And so we have this idea that we are stuck in space and time at a certain place. But on an inner level, this is not true. On an inner level, we transcend space and time. And when we get in touch with this level, we can reach out throughout space and time and touch everybody and help everybody.
That's right. That's right. It's like I love what you're saying, because I've seen the men's healing taking place during a session. A session is only for, in my case, people are here 3 hours or something, what can take place in such a short time, actually. But
Yes.
and sometimes I also, it's not a technique, but it just comes naturally that also that the lost boy or girl, so to speak, comes or sits somewhere trapped in a frozen time, and I ask the client, do you want to, shall we go together and fetch that a little boy or girl from the frozen time? And they always say yes, and we do like an operation. Sometimes I tell them that I'm a nurse, which I used to be before, and I'm the nurse just supporting you, and we go there and they, oh, I got her now, let's go, and we can fly or we can whatever.
Yes.
Just like Peter Pan. And then they hold on to, I have a little teddy bear in my treatment room where I can hold on to the teddy bear, and in case it comes natural to feel that sometimes also as themselves as a fetus or as a newly born child, or something like that, or a past life. It's amazing what the human consciousness can imagine and to create.
Yes.
To create
But you can
fear.
turn around. You can turn it around.
Right.
It's also amazing what the human consciousness has limited itself.
Yeah.
And the reason behind this is fears.
Yes.
When I talk about fear for a spider, it's very clear. But most fears are not very clear, and we've put them in thoughts that are based on our fears. But and the biggest, what fear does, fear creates duality. Yeah? When you're afraid for something, you create a kind of duality between yourself and that what you are afraid of.
Yes.
And this way we have built the whole universe. We think the whole universe is separated from us. That the stars are far away, that everything is around us, and we are just a tiny little point, and everything is separated.
Yeah.
And this is basically a fear-based structure. But we consider this as science. It's not, it's fear.
Right. It's
the deepest, when we remember that we are not separated from the universe, but we are one with the universe. We feel surrounded not by fear, but by love. And we can make ourselves as small and as big as we want. The masculine side of us wants us to be small in order to discover everything, to experience anything. It's like a game you play. When you play a game, it's fun, but you make yourself small. You limit yourself to the rules of the game, to the space of the game. But it gives us a unique experience.
Yeah.
It gives us wonders. These experiences are unique. And then the feminine side can make us big as we want because we are connected to everything.
Yeah.
But we have built this world vision based on fear that we are separated from everything. And so when we are separated from everything, of course, what is separated from us might be dangerous. And therefore we have protectors to protect ourselves. And this is the way our whole society is built. And therefore we cannot play as children. We cannot enjoy the game of life. We have to stay put and be strong.
It's like a mystery or a paradox or something. But it came to me. I don't know the Bible in such, but I love the Yeshua channelings. Yeshua is a totally different person than what I heard. I'm not a Christian, I'm Jewish, but certain things were said about Messiah or something like that. But I don't know where I heard it from, but it's the saying, I was lost, but now I'm found. It's probably based on this kind of epiphany that you can realize things on many levels and more and more and more, of course. But I was lost. I was a lost boy, or I was a lost girl or boy, but now I'm found. But what then? But that's the magic of life. I believe that when you have, or I have a big insight like that, then a new phase starts until that's kind of played out, and then another phase starts. So to me, this male female in general also is a communication inside and outside. Like you and I love to communicate with you because we share and then we kind of talk, and it's nice because why fight when you can talk? and get to know the other person
Yes.
feel and think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the Bible, and there are many other books,
Yeah.
religious books, and people who say they believe in God, often they have a deeper idea. That's more important. They separate themselves from God. So the basic belief is the idea with religious people of separation, of distance.
Yes.
God may like you or he may not like you if you're a sinner. And this is the idea of separation. And behind this idea is fear. So most people, when they believe in God, basically they believe in fear. They believe in separation.
That's right. Oh my God, that's a new. Oh my God, that's a new. Sorry.
And what science does, they say, okay, we don't believe in God, but they took the idea of separation behind this belief.
Really? Yes.
Still talk about space and time and goes along.
Yes.
I remembered when I studied astrophysics at university, I noticed that scientists, people talk about how big is the universe, how old is the universe. And what do they then? They place the universe inside space and time. So they place space and time above the universe. And then everything is separated.
Yeah.
Self-evident, everything is separated. And this is a fear-based idea of separation.
Right.
And they say, okay, space and time are part of the universe, and there's oneness above space and time. This is a love-based idea. Then everything is one. And this is what I believe and what I try to bring to people. There's a level of oneness. What does this mean? That you are connected with everything. And through the masculine side, you can be a certain part in this oneness and experience the rest of the oneness through your feminine side with love. And then you're enjoying life. Then you're enjoying the game of life.
That's true.
But the problem with those traditional religion is separation between God and man.
Yes.
And God might be angry at you if you're doing things wrong. And this is a fear-based religion.
Yeah.
And this is why people are always living in fear. And we have to let go of this fear. There is no separation. This means at the deepest level, you are one. What are you? You are God who chose to be Rita, to experience Rita. This is you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a co-creator.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. It's such a riddle to me. This is a great topic, of course, but that everybody is born from a womb, from a woman, and still there's so much misunderstanding, and of course that's why we incarnate, probably to realize all these things, but when you're talking, it sounds very natural and quite
you say everybody is born from a woman, and in an ideal situation a child should have a father and a mother, and the father and the mother love this child, and at a certain point in life though people go away. They die of old age, for instance, or a child wants to go live abroad or something like this. And then in a natural society, something very important at a psychological level should happen, that when the mother goes away, the earth should be the new mother. So the love of the mother is always there. And when the father energy goes away, heaven should be the father, the stars and the sky. So in the natural world, you can always be a child because the father and mother energy are always there for you, supporting you. But this is not what happened, because people are raised in such a way, when your father and mother go away, the universe is a dead, cold place, infinite, full of threads. And then people try to be strong, to connect, to have control, to have power.
Right.
Behind the urge to have power, to have control, there is fear, but people do not recognize it. You should make a career. You should have a good home, a good income. And when you focus too much on those things, you cannot really enjoy the adventure of life. You cannot be a child.
Yes.
You need those inner children. You need those lost boy.
Yeah.
to enjoy the play of life, to enjoy the adventure of
Yes.
life, to go on
Yes.
discovery, to be free. And then you can only be free when you know the universe is a beautiful place.
That's right. That's right. That's lovely. That's lovely, Gerrit. I sit in my kitchen every time a new client comes because I work in my house here, and then we go into my living room and they're in the sofa and they do the hypnosis, and all this is beautiful how things unfold for them based on this kind of idea of the source and getting in touch of the source and all that. But I can see that clients look, I say clients, they are people, of course, but they can sometimes look 30 or 40 years younger, I believe. It's my just sensation after they got in touch with, because all these problematic things, maybe life doesn't get easier after the session. I have no idea, but just to be in touch with this energy, I think is very vitalizing and rejuvenating. I believe that because it's forgotten somehow, or as we said, lost. It's lost.
Yes.
And then when it kind of also the connection is reconnection is done, then it's like it's never too late either.
Yeah, no, it's never too late
Never too
because
late. So that's quite
it's
hopeful.
always there. But the
Yes,
problem is the lost boy is not welcome in this world because the lost boy will never be a soldier.
for
He will
sure.
never be a hard
No,
worker. He
no,
wants to be
right.
free, enjoy life, and then do this, do that, and play and have fun.
Yes.
This is not what the world wants.
Yeah. These days, the most fun, I think, for me is to interact, like with you, for example, now, and to interact with people online and in real life, and of course with animals too, and all living things. But the connection that's the bliss of it too, that so many people feel so alone. That's like a paradox too, that of course we somehow die and
Yeah.
and live alone in one sense, one could say, but this connection makes it in the moment at least to swim with dolphins, or however one could
Yeah.
say. Okay, Gerrit, how do you say Gerrit in your Dutch way? Because so I learned to pronounce it.
Gerrit.
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 It's the
With
R.
the
My daughter
G.
lives in
Gerrit.
Israel, so they have the same R.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to thank you. But before we end this talk, is there anything you just want to now share? Still, that's something maybe inside of you want to share, or you feel you said what you wanted to say?
Well, you said something about loneliness. There's no need to be alone. When you go inside, you can really find everything you need. There you are always surrounded by guides or angels that really love you. Now, people often ask me, okay, but you can say that and you can believe that, but I do not feel them. I feel alone. How can I be in touch with them? And then I think the problem is that you think that you are something behind your head, that everything is happening inside your head. But this head stretches out to the whole universe. And how do you can get in touch with an angel? Simply use your imagination. Remember this. The human imagination is the source of many beautiful things, art, literature, many books. So it is at the deepest level, your imagination is a gateway to everything. So when you feel alone, simply imagine an angel or a beautiful human being with you, your friends, and okay, and don't be afraid to imagine things. Use your imagination, and then imagine you are talking with this person. Write it down. You ask a question to this person, and imagine an answer. And when you do this, at a certain point, you will realize that things will start to flow. Just like a writer who's writing a book, he's imagining a person, and suddenly this person comes to life. And this you can do in your imagination. And when you do this, and when you allow this process to be, and you forget that you are imagination, at a certain point you will think, hey, this is strange. This is more than just my imagination. Now
Yeah.
I really feel this person with me. I really feel this person, that this person loves me. And this is a beautiful thing. So forget that use your imagination. Accept that your imagination is a gateway, a key. And when you create this image of a beautiful angel, a real guide will start to use this image. And the bigger, the greater, the more love when you create this image, the more open the door will be to the real angel. So
Yes.
go inside, start to use your imagination. Imagine there's a friend with you. Talk with this friend, talk with this angel, write it down. And at a certain point, you will really feel someone who loves you. And when you do this exercise, within 10 minutes, I guarantee you, you will feel less alone. And you can do this because you are not in your head. And with the use of your imagination, you can create doors, gateways to the forces that are around you, that are helping you, that are guiding you, that deeply love you because you are love. There's immense amount of love around you. Don't doubt this. Just open yourself for it. And imagination is a key to do this. So that's what I want to say about loneliness. It's a simple exercise. You can do it within 10 minutes, and loneliness is a big problem. Simply use your imagination. Imagine this beautiful being, this angel, in your imagination. Talk with this angel, and slowly you will feel a certain kind of real love, and you get real messages.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yes.
Just give it a chance.
Yes.
Don't be a victim of your loneliness.
That's right.
Just when you are alone, you can do this.
Yes, yes. I know this this experience too. I share with you 100%. And for one period, I used to imagine a co-pilot, that we were flying a plane, and I was a pilot. But then I said to the co-pilot, "Please fly us now, because I have no clue how to fly." And things would start to get going, and it's like I have no idea how this happened. And yeah, so as you say, you can use any imagination. And I think it was Einstein who said that imagination is greater than knowledge, and such that it's a magical trick what you are telling.
Yes, we have this fear-based idea that we are all separated in space and time from each other, that we're all in this little point behind our eyes and the universe is around it. This idea is a fear-based idea. Right. It is not true. And there's a love-based vision that is also scientifically true, that everything is one. And you can use your imagination to get in contact with this reality.
Yes.
But we have a tendency to play down our imagination. It's just imagination.
Yes,
it's imagination that creates all the literature, the art, because this imagination is a tool to get in touch with a higher reality, with reality of honest and love.
So true. And one can call it, sometimes I call it fantasy, sometimes I call it active imagination. That it's just the words, but it's really an active imagination, because you it's not like, I'm waiting and see what comes, like that, but you go into it. And so that's a great message.
Give it a chance. People don't give it a chance. They think, oh, it's just imagination, I don't do it.
Yes, it's just imagination. That's a typical thing. Maybe someone heard it as a child, that stop with your imagination, let's go to real life.
Yes.
And
when we are at school and we're imagining things, we should be, this is wrong, we should listen and not be with our imagination. Many people are like in this situation. They are in a dark room and they are afraid for the darkness, but there's a light switch. Now, what should you do? Try the light switch. But they say, no, it doesn't work, I won't do it, and I'll stay in the dark, and it has no use. It's a problem, it won't work. they just have to put on the light.
Yes, just try it out. Yes.
Yes, try it out. Just try it out.
Yes.
And it is a thing of logic. When try out the positive, give it a chance. When you don't do it, it will never work. People often don't think, no, it won't work. I don't try it.
But I welcome everyone who, sorry, everyone who with a lot of imagination and to think it's not the positive thinking that was popular for some time, that you think you're stuck in the door with your foot and you think, oh, positive, I'm although it hurts, you just this is not positive thinking in such right, but it is way of playing with life actually somehow, and to see what trial and error somehow. Yes.
The problem with positive thinking is that people are not aware of what they're thinking. Well, many people want money, and they imagine they have a lot of money.
Yes.
But at another level, they hate rich people. They're constantly complaining about rich people, and so they give mixed signals to the universe.
That's right. We can talk about it another time.
Yes.
Because
okay.
But talk about it's great to talk with you, and I think it's time to say goodbye to the listeners. And
okay.
And is that okay with you? I
yes.
could talk all day, but it's maybe we do another recording another time. But now I'd like to ask you a practical thing. If any of the listeners here, you are a listener, would like to consult you as a hypnotherapist or as person, do you do online consultation?
Yes. Yeah. Online via Skype. There are instructions on our English website, yeshua.net, consultations.
Okay, so we can add the link below, right? And
yes.
Also a bit about you, some information about you, and also a link about your work with lovely Pamela, and because it's you do it in this kind of interaction, I feel, so yeah, so we'll put all the information below this video, and for how to get in touch with you. And is the website in Dutch or is it in English? And in
English, it's a but that is an English link to the English consultations and
yes, good.
trance therapy.
Okay, I would like to consult you right away.
Well, you're welcome.
Yes. Okay. So thank you, and say goodbye to all the listeners. And
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.